Hello and welcome to another episode of Power of Inclusivity. My name is Samuel Matsikure and I'll be your host. This show will be focusing on promoting, advocating, educating and challenging policy as well as social norms for LGBTI inclusion in a democratic process in Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean social-political context largely characterized by stigma, discrimination, marginalization of LGBTI community. This amplifies the dehumanization and exclusion of LGBTI persons in exercising their democratic rights, provision, and access to human rights services. This show is brought to you by Bayete Development Institute with the support of Canadian Embassy in Zimbabwe. In this episode, we'll be talking to Kudakwashe Maiswa on intersex persons in Zimbabwe. Kudakwashe is from Intersex community of Zimbabwe. Kudakwashe, welcome to the episode.
Welcome and thank you.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Please tell us more about yourself and your organization.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Kudakwashe Maiswa. I was born intersex of ambiguous genitalia, and I'm coming from the intersex community of Zimbabwe, which is based in Chitungwiza.
And what exactly does intersex mean? Because a lot of people tend to confuse this term and throw around a whole lot of definitions around it.
Okay, intersex simply means that a person is born with sex characteristics that does not typically fit into the definition of male and female. And therefore, it becomes difficult to distinguish either one is a male or a female.
And what was life like and life is like today growing up as an intersex person in Zimbabwe?
Okay, being an intersex is not easy. Growing up is not easy. There are a lot of challenges that you encounter through, maybe let me share my experience. Mm-hmm. I was born intersex, and during my birth, I think there was a lot of confusion when I was born with that ambiguous genitalia, whereby my sex organs were not clear that I was male or a female. Then I was assigned a female at birth, and then I grew up. And then the doctors advised my parents that I should go for surgery. They wanted to fix and correct so that I become a normal female. And then after, they tried to make those surgeries, but by that time, I think the doctors were not very aware. They don't have enough information. And then they just said to operation to be done at 15. So then I was growing up in the community that does not accept anything outside male and female. It was so challenging. I faced a lot of discrimination simply because I was different. And even to me, looking at my sisters and my brother, seeing that I was different, it troubles me a lot to an extent that I thought I was less than a human. I was lacking information about who am I and what's going on. And it was so difficult for me to ask my mom. And it happened that she never told me what was going on. So it was like troubling me in my mind. And I used to cry most of the time. But the moment I discovered that I'm not alone, I discovered that there are other intersex out there, my life become easy because, sharing the testimonies, it becomes better. Yes.
Do you think society fear intersex persons?
Actually, they don't fear, but they see it as a taboo.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's nothing to talk about.
Vanhu vanenge vachiti no zvinhu izvi hazvitaurwe nezvazvo simply because kunozikanwa kunzi kune murume kune mukadzi, and then kukazozvarwa mwana anenge asiri kunzwisisika, they don't want to talk about it, zvinoiswa pasi they throw it under the carpet, and they want to keep it silent, yet these things are there. Vanhu ava variko, and they are men in Zimbabwe, only that vazhinji vacho havasati vabuda pachena, they are kept in secrecy.
You also spoke about the surgery that you went to. Why do you think doctors consider intersex to be a medical emergency that must be treated immediately, given the history that you went through?
Like I said, our society inongotaura about male and female. So kana munhu achinge azvarwa asiri a male or a female, I need those sex characteristics dzisiri kuita fit into, they take it as a disorder. Vanenge vachiti inonzi disorder. So disorder zvinongoreva kuti something zvinhu zvisiri muorder, zviruda kuitwa sei, zviruda kugadziriswa. Kana tikati this house is not in order, which means we want to put things in order. So to an intersex person, vanenge vachiti no, it's a disorder, so we need to fix, we need to correct. And yet fixing yacho, it comes with many health complications. It's not something that is perfectly done. The surgeries are irreversible. There is a lot of challenges, which including chronic pain, and also there is an issue of wrong sex assignment, because most of the surgeries, they are done at a tender age.
Yep.
So they might think someone is a male or someone is a female, then they try to fix. Like in my case, I was assigned a female, and then the surgery, they tried to fix me into a female. Then I grew up. Now I discovered that I'm more of a man, and yet the surgery was done, and it is irreversible. So at times you develop hatred, you develop anger for those decisions. I think it was going to be better if they were waited for me to make my decision, and also provide the information that, because my surgeries ashuna, they should be given information yakakwana yekuti what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of my surgeries.
So do you think doctors have power over parents to convince them to do these surgeries?
Yeah, they have power, because they are the ones who encourages that mwana anofana kuitwa operation. Because panozozvarwa mwana zvonzi mwanai popa patadza kuonekwa kuti mwanai, so vanozoadvise maparents kuti these things need to be corrected.
Well, there's more to say. Join us in continuing the conversation after the break. Welcome back. We were talking about some of the issues and some of the processes that doctors have assigned parents to do with intersex persons. And you are also sharing your own experience and some of the surgeries that you have also gone through in trying to assign you a gender. Who is responsible for educating parents and society about intersex persons? And do you think these groups have adequate information from your own experience?
Okay, thank you so much. I think the ones who are responsible for educating are the intersex people themselves, because they are the ones in the shoes. So no one can be able to tell about intersex whilst he is or she is not an intersex person. So isusu wacho ane experience tisu turufana kunge tichitaura no nekuti zvarwa tiri ma intersex kwatakazvarwa tiri, these are the things zvatinosangana nazvo, these are the things zvatinoda so that tinogona kubatsirika. In terms of my groups, hakuna information, there is no information about intersex people. That's why pamupacho we end up being labeled of the other groups that we are not, and also tinenge tichifesa discrimination, stigma and discrimination out there, simply because we are intersex.
And you said earlier that you have met other intersex persons, and there are many of you out there.
Yes.
Are their parents, do they have adequate information about intersex persons, or they also need some help?
Our parents, they don't have much information. Chavanongoita ndechekuti kana munhu atozvara mwana muintersex anobatwa nepanic. So chaanozoita ndechekuti zvinotaurwa nadhokta zvezve kunzi mwana ngaafixwe, ndo zvavanenge vakuita mufocus on, so that one can fit into the societal expectations. So vari kutoda information yakakwana so that ndo vanotanga kuita se kuaccepta kuti tapiwa mwana muintersex, mwana akangofanana nevamwe vana vese, because being intersex hazvisi zvinhu zvinorwadza, it's just a variation ingoripo. Tingati it's a disability, isusu we don't treat it as a disability or as a disorder. It's just normal, just like trees, tine miti mimwe yakabenda mimwe yakaita sei, but that doesn't take the fact that they are trees. So same applies to us intersex people.
You also spoke about trying to fit in society. Do you think intersex issues and matters are a societal issue, and that doctors are trying to make this a medical issue?
Yes, they are the societal issues. That's why vachizotaura kuti we need to correct, because society inotaura about men and female. Saka zvese zviri kuitwa zvekuda kuzokorekta izvi inyaya dzekuda kuita fit the societal expectations. And yet isusu we think kuti instead of fixing an intersex person, it's better to give information so that people know kuti there are people who are different.
And given what you have said, that doctors need to give information and for people to decide what they want to do, what should be the new or better protocol in dealing with intersex persons? And do you think waiting is a better method or choice for intersex persons when it comes to surgery?
Okay, I think the new protocol is to wait for the child to grow until at a certain stage, maybe at puberty, because that's where the body starts to develop. And in that case, a person can be able to choose for themselves. Then kuti tikaita operation like zvandataura kuti ikaitwa munhu achiri mudiki asati akukwanisa kuzvichuzira kuti ari kuda zvipi, then you grow up uzodiscover kuti no, inini zvavakandiita izvi hazvisiri izvo zvandiri, ndo panozoya dambudziko. Saka kumirira kuti munhu azoita choice yake, that's the better way to go. And also in some cases sezvanambotaura kuti kuva intersex hachisi chinhu chinorwadza, zvingoriwo zvinhu zvitorochi, is something that is normal. Saka pamwe pacho munhu anogona kuchuza kuitwa surgery or kusada kuitwa surgery yacho, because there are many complications.
Are there advantages or disadvantages or negative or positive aspects that comes with waiting for one to have a surgery when they are older? Because you are also still living in a society, like you said, where they still expect you to be male or female.
Yeah, I think zviri nani kuti munhu azoita choice yake, because at times kana choice ikaitwa uchiri mudiki unozorarama upenyu hwekublama someone kuti dai vasina kunge vakandiita izvi. ndingadai ndakaita sei, but kana waita iri choice yako iwewe, you don't have anyone to blame.
So it's a matter of giving somebody a choice.
Yeah.
And from what you said earlier, that sometimes parents make the choice at a younger age for children, and as they grow old, they do not fit anywhere. Yeah. Is it easier for that person to participate in social spaces or to get a relationship?
It is not very easy. Like I myself, I grew up as a female, but now that I discovered that I'm more of a male, so I had to change even the way I present myself. So currently I'm having challenges with the society, family members. Yeah. At times they are saying, why didn't you come out? Why didn't you publicize your things that are inside? But that's the only way that I feel I can be me. Because pandairarama pacho ndichitry kufita zvavakanga vakandiita, I was pretending. So I think the way that I present myself, those zvandinofeel comfortable nazo, and that's being me.
And are you having these conversations also with doctor to try and convince them to change their position of rushing to do surgeries with intersex persons?
Yeah, we are doing advocacy, but you know, the protocols sometimes it's not easy to reach out to the doctors and also challenging them. Remember, vanhu vanenge vakaspend some years vachidzidzira basa ravo. So at times unoona kuti paunotry kuda kuti mugare pasi mutaure pambacho, they don't want to listen. And also the resources are not permitting. We cannot reach out to many. Tinogona kusangana only one or two, but then it's something that is chinoda kuparidzwa zvakanyanya.
So it is important for doctors, for families and everyone to come to the table and all discuss these issues with intersex persons in the table. There's more that we can talk about. Join us in continuing the conversation after the break. Welcome back as we continue our discussion with Kudakwashe. Kudakwashe, in the work that you are doing and also the other intersex persons that you've been meeting in your work, what are some of the human rights violations that you have experienced or intersex persons have experienced in Zimbabwe?
We are experiencing a lot of human rights violations. Starting from, we are facing discrimination, stigma and discrimination. Yet we are human beings. Vanofana kuraramawo zvakangofanana nevamwe vanhu. So discrimination iyi tinoifesa kwakawanda. Be it kuchikoro, ukazikanwa kunzi you are an intersex person, some people they don't want to associate with you. Also in terms of participation, sports. I was a sports person. Ndaitamba soka. But nekuda kwekuti unenge uri an intersex person, ndaitamba female soccer. Okay. So my performance was very high than vasikana vandaitamba nawo. So at some point ndakatonzi iwewe hausi musikana iwe. After the match toda kuti timboenda newe timbonokutarisa kuti tione kuti what is inside your pants, and knowing what was inside zvakandiomera. So chandakazoita after the match ndakangobva ndatiza, ndanga ndichine mamwe 2 matches andaida kuzotamba, but ndakatoona kuti it was better for me kuti nditize ndiende, because kuendwa neni kutoilet vonotarisa, and then the next thing chikoro chese chinobva chatanga kuruziva kuti no zvakamira so. Saka ndingangoti in all public services it's not easy for an intersex person even to find a professional job. Azvisinyore ukangosvika pabasa like myself, presentation yangu, but my ID says I'm a female.
Yeah.
So ndinotori nechallenge yekuti pandinongosvika ndichipresenta document rangu anotaura kuti no, this is not you. And also even I had a challenge ku Econet. Line rangu I registered my line nesta rangu. So ndakaita challenge yekuti ndo pandafona customer care. So vakati no, we need to assist. Vachinzwa voice yanga iri phone call, but then pandakataura kuti ndini muridzi weSIM card, vakati no, we want to help muridzi weline. So havana kutondibatsira ende ndandiri kwamutoko kuro kuti ndaitoniita help nekukasika. So it's not easy. And also even using my public services like my bathrooms, my toilets, is a challenge. Yekuti kana ndikada kupinda mufemale, I face a lot of challenge. Kana ndikada kushandisa male yacho munhu akangotadza kundinzwisisa, it becomes a challenge.
So there are a lot of human rights violations you're experiencing, right to privacy, the dignity, association, even just access to education, but also employment. These are a lot of things that I think society should be looking at. And what kind of legislation or activism is taking place to increase awareness of intersex persons and to expand the rights of intersex persons in Zimbabwe?
Oh, okay. Legislation. Tanga kuita advocacy. We are into advocacy, whereby we are trying to lobby, to engage with policymakers. But also the challenge is the resources are not permitting. So we are taking it bit by bit. We engaged with the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission on national inquiry on access to documentation, because we also have challenges in terms of documentation. In the sense yekuti munhu anenge azvarwa, anenge assignwa it female, then you take my documents akazorasika, at times body inenge yadeveloper into something else. Kuchizoenda kuno replace those documents, it becomes a challenge. So we participated in the national inquiry, of which that's where we are now. And also we are advocating for the stopping of those unnecessary surgeries that are being performed. So, and also we are trying to educate the nation, starting with the families of intersex people, and also the society, be it kuma church, because that's where we spend most of our time. So we think giving people information about us, it makes our lives better. Kana vanhu vakaziva nezvedu. I can just share a testimony. Kuchurch kwandinoenda ndakaita that feeling yekuti people havasondinzwisisa. So I had to talk na pastor ndobva ndanoshare a testimony. So from that moment ndakashare a testimony, ndakuenda kuchurch zvakasununguka, simply because vanhu vakuita sei, vakuziva nezvangu. So the next thing vakandiona ndichiita zvandinge ndichiita, vanhu vakunzwisisa kuti no, this person is like this.
So acceptance and inclusion, it's important if we are to understand and address intersex issues.
Yes.
How can civil society support intersex persons in communities from your own perspective?
They should assist us financially. Ndofunga ndochi kunyanya kutanga, because like we are a community-based organization. Ichangotanga. So challenge yedu iri panyaya yenigiri ye ma-resources. We don't have ma-resources. And also they should give us support. They should give support to the intersex community, and also calling out violations of human rights. So that was recommended by United Nations, because United Nations iri kutaura pamusoro pekustopa kwema surgeries. So I think our government should also support us kuti zvese izvozvo zvimire, kuti tizorarama a free life as intersex persons, just like any other. people.
Yeah, I think your own personal story does relate a lot to why we need to stop surgery. Because a lot of people, from what I've also read, then the labeling starts coming in, where they are also to some extent associated with being gay, ngochane, and called outness in society, and discrimination continue to happen. But like you also highlighted, it is important that there is an inclusion and understanding of intersex persons from their own perspective than actually, speaking down to them what should be done in society. Thank you for having time with us. Thank you very much for joining us for today's episode, where we're discussing intersex persons in Zimbabwe. This show was proudly brought to you by Bayet Development Institute with the support of Canadian Embassy in Zimbabwe. Join us for the next episode.